With 2018 coming to a close, it's a good time to reflect on the year in general, and I also like to use it to reflect on the games of the year. Now, this is mainly going to focus on Nintendo stuff for the Switch and even a few 3DS games, but the point of this video is just to tell you guys our opinions on Nintendo's performance in 2018. Now, I think yours are a little bit different than mine, but
Right.
you played some of the games that I didn't play this year, so it's going to be a pretty interesting podcast.
Oh yeah.
So, I'm just going to say it. Nintendo's 2018, it was not that good. It could have been so much better. This is easily one of their worst years in recent times. Now, it's not as bad as the Wii U stuff, but at the same time, it could have been so much better, and there were so high of expectations right after 2017.
Mm, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, I think the biggest problem is the lack of new quality games. Now, if we were to have a few games that were really, really good, that'd be
Mhm.
okay. But my
Mhm.
problem with the year is, sure, we did get some good games from Nintendo, really good games towards the end of the year, but a lot of the
Mhm.
stuff was just really mediocre or just plain bad. Now, I will say, though, this is
Right.
covering the stuff from Nintendo directly, so it's not going to cover third-party stuff, because a lot of third-party stuff this year, it's been pretty great. I'm so glad I got to
Right.
finally play the Crash Trilogy on the Switch. That's a must-have game for any Switch owner. I've been recently playing Katamari Re-Roll and Mega Man 11. I got those for Christmas. Those are great games, too. I'm so glad they're on the Switch. And third-party
Nice.
games, there's really been no problems with this year. But it's the first
Yeah.
party games that have been the problem, and that's kind of
Mhm.
surprising considering Nintendo isn't known for their third party support.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I think third party wise, Nintendo was great this year. Absolutely amazing. Um it's been honestly, I've never seen anything like this in Nintendo's history in terms of third party support. But yeah, we're gonna delve a little bit deeper into what happened with the first party titles this year.
Now, this isn't going to be about all of them because there certainly were some good ones, but I'm going to
Right.
start off with the game that kind of started a trend that I'm a little worried about. Something that I really hope doesn't continue ever again, and it was just a 1 year thing. So Kirby Star
Right.
Allies released in March, and I was excited to
Mhm.
play the game. I like Kirby's Return to Dreamland, I like Kirby Triple Deluxe, I absolutely loved Kirby Planet Robobot, and I thought I'd love
Mhm.
Star Allies too. Going back to Robobot, that game is everything I would ever want in a Kirby game. It doesn't tamper with the formula to make it unrecognizable, but it just enhances it, puts Kirby in new environments, has all these cool
Nice.
mechanics. It was just a really
Mhm.
fun game to play. Then when Star Allies came out, it was lacking in so many areas. For one, the game really has no original aspects to it. You could say combining power-ups is and the allies is, but the allies are just
Mhm.
really a glorified version of the combining power-up systems, and it's an easy mode for the game since your allies can beat up other enemies. Which leads me into my next point. The game is way too easy too. You know, I
Mhm.
get it. Kirby games are supposed to be accessible, but also there needs to be some depth to make them worth playing. But if a game is so easy you can pretty much play it blind, there's
Mhm.
something wrong with it. And that's a big
Right.
problem with Kirby Star Allies because the game is so easy, it makes a game like New Super Mario Bros. 2 look like Super
Mhm.
Mario Bros. The Lost Levels or Battletoads.
Oh man, we don't want to go that hard.
I'm serious though.
Um, I've only played the demo for Star Allies, and most of what you've said about the game, I have to agree with. It's I haven't. I've talked to you about this before, but I have not been the biggest fan of the recent Kirby games from Return to Dreamland onwards. I don't know what's been going on with HAL Lab, but it seems like they're running out of ideas, and it seems like they're just rushing out Kirby games now once a year to make a quick buck. Um, and I honestly feel like, based on what I saw in this game, they're just reusing ideas and adding some sort of novelty flair to it to try and sell it to be new when it's really not. And it's sad. You know, to see one of my favorite Nintendo characters being so half baked. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
Uh,
that's another problem with the game. There's
yeah,
only a few levels in the game. You can easily
right.
100% the game within 6 to 10 hours, which is insulting for a game that costs $60. So let's just say you were to beat the game in 10 hours and it's a $60 game. That's $6 an
Mhm.
hour. You're pretty much paying the Nintendo hotel fee to play games for a full retail game that you own now.
Yeah, $60 was way too much for this game. From what you've told me and from what I've played and what I've looked up, it is not a $60 game. At most, it's a $40 game or maybe even less. It is honestly not worth it. If you want a good Kirby experience, play Superstar
Or play Planet
or
Robobot, or
Squeak
Triple
Squad.
Deluxe, or pretty much anything else.
Right. But I'm not as surprised as you are because again, haven't liked the recent Kirby games recently. Nothing against them, it's just not my cup of tea. But
Whether you liked them or not, you have
yeah,
to admit they had content and they felt like
they
full-fledged
did.
games, even though you
They
didn't
did.
like them. And I can say that
They
for
did,
certain
yeah.
games. But this
Oh
game
yeah.
just had pretty much nothing to do after the
Right.
10 hours you played it, and there was zero replay value. I mean, there's been some DLC to kind of pad out the game, add more levels
Mhm.
and characters, but I still think the game should have been shipped out with enough content to justify the
Mhm.
$60 price tag. Now, originally I thought Kirby Stylized, not every game can be perfect. Not every game can even be mediocre. I thought it was a
Mhm.
fluke. Oh well, it happens from time to time. But then
Mhm.
Mario Tennis Aces came out that summer. That was
Oh
another game I
boy.
was really looking forward to. I know you think it's a joke and haha, it's just a tennis game. It's a silly little tennis game. But I really like Mario sports games. I think they're a lot of fun to play. I think they're usually really well done. They add a bunch of cool things, a bunch of Mario stadiums, items, stuff like that. So I was looking forward to it, and they said that the adventure mode from the Game Boy games was returning. So that was another thing. And look at Mario Odyssey. What that did? It brought 3D Mario back to its roots. So it seemed like it was going to be a current theme for Switch games. But then I actually got the game.
Right.
I played it. The adventure mode is just a collection of mini games, and just felt there like, hey guys, adventure mode's back. Exactly what you wanted from the Game Boy games. It's here. Woohoo! But really, it was just put on the back of the box. They didn't put any effort, any soul, or anything into the adventure mode. And
Mhm.
the gameplay is probably the biggest problem of the game because the gameplay is so good, it's so refined and so fun to play, but there's nothing you can
Mhm.
do with it. There is literally no
Mm.
content in the game. You can't even really
Mm.
use it.
Uh
Sure, you can play
yeah.
multiplayer, but the online multiplayer is what was really good about Mario Tennis Aces. But now,
Mhm.
no one's really playing it because people aren't getting Nintendo Switch Online to play Mario Tennis Aces. And because the game had so little
Right.
content, people just forgot about the game and moved on to other things.
Yeah, you see, I only played the test launch of the game, and from what I played, I couldn't get into the gameplay for some reason. Um, and it just kind of seemed bland to me. The UI seemed kind of bland.
And that's another
Uh,
thing, you can't even select a stage via a select screen. You have to go into settings and manually turn off every stage to go on the one you want.
yeah.
The game
You
was
see,
definitely rushed out.
I was going to maybe pick up the game, and oh man, when I tell you that you were complaining like for months and being like beyond livid about the game, like it was I've never seen him this angry for like one game.
No, let me tell you, it wasn't so
Yeah.
much the game, but it
Hmm.
was because Star Allies released before it, and then Aces
Oh,
released.
true.
Both were
Yeah.
unfinished games,
Right.
and used DLC to pad it out by adding a new
Right.
character every month, get people interested in the game, but that never works. Do you know the multiplayer games I
Right.
go back to? I go back to Mario Kart. Mario Kart 8 is a 5-year-old game, but has enough content and enough things to do that makes it worth going back to, and I always bring that up. You want to
And,
know how many times I
and
played Mario
yeah.
Tennis Aces with my friends? None.
Try.
Well, actually, a few times, but after that it got really boring.
Yeah, Mario Kart and Smash Brothers, which we'll get to eventually, uh, are the two defining multiplayer experiences that really don't even need expanded content. Uh,
Yeah, just shipped
and
out the
it's
game with enough content already, and you'll be fine. And it's not
and
saying that
yeah,
Mario Tennis games are bad, because they've been great, mostly. And they said this one was
uh,
going to be a
Ultra
return to form and
Smash.
everything, but
Yeah,
if I want to play Mario Tennis, I'll just go back to the one on the GameCube or the Game Boy games, because those are way better games, and they actually have
right,
content, which is a thing that this game is lacking. And the reason I was so livid about it is because I was starting to notice a trend that I was worried would
right.
keep on happening, and it kind of did continue to happen for a little while. So, before we get
It
into
didn't.
some other
Yeah,
games that came out in the year, I'm going to wrap up Mario
right.
Tennis Aces. It's a game that has great gameplay, but since there's nothing to do with it, it's just really kind of pointless. You can beat the adventure mode in 6 hours. The game isn't
Right.
that good in multiplayer since the UI is really clunky and no one's
Uh-huh.
really playing the online anymore. So I just
Right.
skipped the game and I sold it. And I rarely ever sell my games. So that's saying
Right.
something right there. But in
Yeah, that's
August,
yeah.
there
Hmm.
was a 3DS game released that unfortunately got overlooked, but it was really fun. WarioWare Gold is a really good
Ah,
game that a lot of people didn't talk about, probably because it was released on the 3DS, but I had a lot
mhm.
of fun with it. That was the first time of the year that I had a blast with a Nintendo first party game. Have you played it at all?
I I've played the. It's gonna be a recurring trend of me playing demos,
I
but
played the
I
demo.
I've played the demo of WarioWare Gold. Yeah, it's a great WarioWare game. It's funny because before then we were like, where the hell is WarioWare? Like, have they forgotten about our boy Wario? And yes and no, we were we were tremendously disappointed it was on the 3DS. We were like, oh, why? And I got even more upset when they said it was like a compilation of all the best WarioWare mini games. I was just kind of like, really? Like,
Yeah, but here's the thing.
come on.
I was a little
No,
disappointed
I know,
about
I
that
know.
too
Yeah,
initially, but they do
yeah.
add quite a few new mini games in there, or micro games,
Oh yeah,
and
oh
there's a
yeah.
ton of replay value. You'll get quite a few hours of fun out of the game.
Oh no, I know. This was before I played the demo,
Yeah,
and when I played the demo, I was just like, I felt like a kid again playing WarioWare. I was like, oh man, this is a lot of fun. I just wish it was on the Switch. Like, there was this one mini game that I played that was literally you putting the Joy Cons into the Switch. I was just like, hold on a second. So is WarioWare coming to the Switch? But yeah, WarioWare Gold was really good, but it probably came too late for it to be recognized. If you get what I mean.
yeah, and that's a problem with it. After playing the game, I realized why I was on the 3DS, because the
Yeah.
Switch doesn't have an intuitive touchscreen like the 3DS does. 3DS easy. A lot
Right.
of the micro games use the touch controls,
Well,
but at the same time,
well,
I feel
yeah.
the 3DS kind of hindered it because, for one, the 3DS really isn't a thing anymore except for people who are on a budget wanting to get a game console. And Nintendo never advertised the game
Right.
either. You can watch a commercial, play all the coolest games on the 3DS like New Super Mario Bros. 2, Mario Kart 7, and Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Right.
But I never see advertisements for these games that they're releasing this year.
Yeah, a WarioWare still would have worked on the Switch just because we had WarioWare Shake It on the Wii, which depended heavily on motion controls. So if anything, if they did ever make another WarioWare game,
WarioWare
I'm
Shake It?
assuming uh, WarioWare Shake It 2. Let's call it that.
It's WarioWare
Uh,
Smooth Moves.
oh,
I think you're thinking of the wrong
sorry.
game.
Smooth Moves. I'm so.
Although I do want another Wario
God.
Land. That has to happen sometime soon.
Yeah, I don't know how I mixed that up. Now I feel like an idiot. But yes, WarioWare Smooth Moves. What I would think they would do is focus on kind of the Joy-Con aspect of it. But if they really want to put back the old touchscreen mini games again, they could make that into a separate mode where you could just undock the Switch and play them there. But
Or use
I
a gyro
digress. That's a
cursor. Stuff like that.
yeah.
And going back to
Uh,
it, I think
mhm.
that the reason they released this on the 3DS is it's a compilation pack. It probably
Right.
didn't take that long to develop since a lot of stuff was returning. And I
Yeah.
think it could have been used to reinvent interest in the Wario series because, as with the
Mhm.
Luigi's Mansion remake on the 3DS, we got
Right.
Luigi's Mansion 3 coming in 2019, and we had the remake
Right.
this year, kind of to pique interest in the series again. So there's no proof that this is going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if we
It's
saw WarioWare come to the Switch. But
it's
WarioWare
probably
Gold,
gonna happen. Yeah.
it's a
Hmm.
good game, and one of my favorite Nintendo games of 2018, even though it's
Hmm.
on the 3DS. Now,
Right.
this one we're going to talk about next, you got to play, but I didn't. And the reason I skipped it is because of Mario Tennis Aces and Kirby Star Allies. I was worried about what Nintendo was going to publish next on the Switch, considering that they released games that you could finish in 6 to 10 hours for $60. I decided to skip this one, but you got to play Super Mario Party, so I'll let you go on with that.
Okay,
And I haven't
so
played a demo of any sort, except the Walmart one, but
okay.
it's not the same.
Um, so I was actually kind of excited for Super Mario Party. I thought it was going to be a return to form, and in some cases it was, and in some cases there needs to be a lot of work. Now, one of the highs for Super Mario Party is that it does return to the original formula, and it adds some new strategy into it for choosing your characters. Now characters have their own specialized dice blocks that they can use, which actually which actually puts a little bit of skill into Mario Party, which I really really like. Now, uh, there's a lot more negatives than positives because these boards. If you saw the board, if you saw the amiibo board in Mario Party 10, that's basically every board in this game. Uh, they're so small, so condensed. They're not fun at all. There's no really fun gimmicks. Um, uh, they're I don't know what it is. I think it's the stages because what I really remembered about old school Mario Party are those boards, those giant boards with these big gimmicks and everything. And the main focus are the mini games, which most of them are fun, but some of them get kind of repetitive, if I'm being honest with you. And river survival gets kind of repetitive after a while, and I don't know, man. This definitely kind of felt rushed, and I kind of have to give it to you because you kind of warned me before I bought it, but
How
I
many
kind
times
of
did I
wanted
have to warn you? I told you almost every day, don't get this game. It's probably going to have the same problems. It only has 4 boards, and the last few games have released without content. So what's going to
I
make this
wanted
one better?
I wanted to see for myself what was good and what was bad because I haven't played really a Mario Party game since 10, and that really soured my experience
It
with
was
the
a
series.
fiasco.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's not as bad as that game, but it's definitely lacking content, and I will be really upset if they make us pay for new boards as DLC because that's not just enhancing the experience. That's fixing the experience, and that should have been fixed by giving the developers more time.
Exactly.
So
That's how DLC should
so
work. If they're going to make DLC for games, they should be additions to already full games, like Breath of the Wild, the expansion pack. You don't need to get the
yeah,
DLC to enjoy the game because the whole game has enough content to last you for a while. It's just if you want more Breath of the Wild.
and one of my big problems with the game is that you can only use one Joy-Con. Now, I think Mario Party 8 kind of had this problem too, where you could only use a Wii remote. But whenever I try to play with my friends, I don't I don't have like more than 2 Joy-Cons. Like I have a Pro controller, a few GameCube controllers, and they can't play with me because they don't have Joy-Cons. And the Joy-Cons are cool and everything, but not everyone likes them. You know,
And they're
and
small too.
they're small. I don't know, man. The game it's heading in the series is heading in the right direction for sure, but there's still a lot more work to be done. Um, I'm hoping for whatever sequel comes around the corner that they give us more boards and they give us bigger boards with more gimmicks and I don't know. I don't know. Also, one of my before I wrap this up, why are the stars so cheap to get now? I remember in the original Mario parties that they were like impossible to get, but like this game gives you so many coins that you could literally grab like 3 stars by the end of your turn.
It's the
It's
symptom of
ridiculous.
Nintendo making games easier. Just
It's
that.
ridiculous. 5 coins for a star, or is it, I think it's 10 coins.
Yeah.
But in the original, it was like, okay, you buy a star for 10 coins, and then it went up to 15, and then to 20. You know, the price went up as the rounds went on. And there's really no price to pay when somebody gets a star because the price stays the same. Which, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not as upset as you were with Aces, but, you
Yeah, but I
know.
played Aces and Star Allies.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
two
But,
back-to-back mediocre games were just the killing point for me.
yeah, so I disappointed, not really that surprised, but I did have a fun time with the game, so there's that.
And you know what? Maybe it is fun. I heard Arlo's review of it. He said there was more
Hmm.
content than Mario Tennis Aces and Kirby Star Allies. But at the same time, I just didn't feel
Yeah,
comfortable getting the game after playing two mediocre
it's
games in a row. So that's
uh,
what I was a little bit
yeah,
upset about.
it has more content, but you could definitely tell that it was rushed for release. You know what I mean? Like it felt like they wanted to add more, and, and Nintendo kind of wanted to rush it out for the holidays to get a quick buck. Um, and I feel bad because it seems like ND Cube finally got it. You know, after all these years, seems like they finally got it. Like, okay, people want this Mario Party experience, but can't give them the experience they want because Nintendo's rushing us.
Exactly. So yeah, it looked like
But
Super Mario Party was a disappointment. And the next big game of the year was Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee,
mm,
which, to be truthful, I haven't played, and I don't think you have either. But the reception has
mm,
been kind of mixed. Some people really liked it, some
mm.
people didn't. But I think most people could agree that it was another symptom of being way too easy and not having enough content for the price tag.
Hmm. Yeah, I haven't played Let's Go. I don't know if have you played Let's Go or no?
I mean, I have a poster if that counts, but no, I haven't played it.
Yeah, I think after Mario Party and from hearing reviews about it, I've been trying to get into Pokemon myself. I'm slowly getting into it. Um, I figured this wouldn't be the best game to get into right now. Um, so I kind of set aside my money for Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
Better choice.
Uh, I still haven't gotten them yet, but I'm investing my money into them. But yeah, it seems like it doesn't seem like the game was rushed. It seems like more of the lines of Nintendo trying to cater for kids
And
again.
nostalgia, of course, because this is a Red and Blue remake, and there are the Gen 1ers out there who are
Yeah,
really attached to
and
that. And I understand that, but
and
at
the,
the same time, it just didn't interest me. And after
I
what
do
you
like
said
the
about
games.
Super
Yeah.
Mario Party, why even
Mhm.
bother?
I do like the game's art style. You know, it's kind of simplist. I know Arlo was saying that it wasn't as detailed as it could be, but I think that was the point. I think it was supposed to be simplistic and kind of cutesy, which was okay. You know, I could deal with it. It looks nice in HD. I mean, it's not the mainline Pokemon game,
That's
so
coming
I
next year.
can't right. So I can't really give it that much flack. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's more of like a holdover, and for some Pokemon Go fans to get into, because I know a bunch of people who bought this game. So I mean, good for them if they really like the game. But I think I'm going to wait on a more fuller Pokemon experience.
and you know what? I really had no strong opinions about it either way. I thought it was a cool little experiment, but it's never really been a game that interests me, so I don't think I was even going to get it, even if it did have a lot of content. But from what I've heard, it was a little bit disappointing. But now,
Right.
going into the end of 2018, this
Hmm.
is the game that Nintendo has hyped up the whole year. This is the
Oh yeah.
game that they had their hearts set on, they hyped up, and they promoted.
Hmm.
Super Smash
Mm.
Bros. Ultimate. Now, after the trend of all the release games that were unfinished and padded out with DLC, I'm gonna be truthful here and I might get some flack, but I was a little bit worried about Super Smash Bros. And
Oh
seeing
yeah.
how it
I
did look a little bit similar to Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, I definitely had my
Hmm.
concerns, and I didn't think the game
You,
was going to be that good.
yeah,
But at the
yeah,
same time,
yeah,
I actually played the
it.
game,
Mhm.
and the first time I ever played it, that's when I realized and got a slap in the face that said, I'll be playing this game for a long, long time.
I told you so.
I'm glad you told me so because
Yeah,
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a great game. What more can be said? In
yeah.
fact, I'm pretty sure if you're watching this video, you're still playing
Hmm.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate because it's that good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was an underwhelming reveal. I will kind of admit that, but
It was a bad
I
E3, so
always
focusing on
it was a
Smash
bad
Bros. It
idea.
kind of soured it for me.
I was excited for Smash either way, and I fully trust Sakurai. And you kind of gave me flack for it before because you were like, how can you trust one developer? Like maybe he could screw up or something like that. But you've played the game and you understand why I trust him so much.
So yeah,
He
you
gives
really can't
quality.
you can't
He
judge a
gives
game
really
on its
quality
looks.
game. Right. He gives really quality game experiences from everything that I've played, from all the Smash games he's worked on to Kid Icarus Uprising. He really puts a lot of heart and detail into them. Even if I'm not the biggest fan of the spirits mode, but we'll kind of get into that. But the core gameplay is just so refined, and every character returning is great. Everything feels balanced. The newcomers, while not too many, are fan favorites that people have been asking for years. Ridley, King K. Rool, Simon Belmont, uh,
Daisy.
Isabel, Daisy, yeah, Crom, you name it. Um, people have been asking for these characters for years, and we finally got them. And we're getting more with the DLC pack. I mean, really, it really is kind of the ultimate Super Smash Brothers game, except for one aspect for me. I'm not really a big fan of World of Light. Um, I don't know why. I just can't get into it, but it's a minor setback because everything else is just fantastic in
I
that
think World
game.
of Light is something you either like or you don't like. But I'm one of the people who really likes it. I think it's fun to play.
Hmm.
But my main flaws with the game are no trophies, no trivia, just
Yeah.
minor stuff. And even I can go past that when the game is so full of
Hmm.
content and the gameplay is
Oh yeah.
refined that it's totally
Hmm.
worth the $60. I mean, the first
Yeah.
week it came out, I put 60 hours into the game, which is something I couldn't do with any of the first party games Nintendo released this year. I think I put 10 in Star Allies,
Right.
20
And
maybe. I think that's stretching it. 15 or 20 in Mario Tennis Aces, but Super Smash
mhm.
Bros. Ultimate is a game that I was so happy turned out to be fantastic, and it has enough
Oh yeah.
content to not only warrant the $60 price tag, but it's also
Hmm.
doing DLC right too. It has enough
Oh,
content to keep
absolutely.
you going back, but there's
Right.
DLC if you want more to the game.
And I know you're not a big fan of the first DLC Challenger, but Joker from Persona was a pretty big reveal because nobody really expected it. You know, even you have to admit you did not expect to see that. I mean, granted, we did expect to see some form of an anime character, but um, not to this extent because Persona is mainly a PlayStation only series. Um, and this gets me excited because Reggie did say the characters this time around are going to be characters that haven't been represented in Smash yet. So what that leads me to believe are more third-party characters.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, but should we start wrapping things up a little bit because
I
we
think
could talk
so.
about the
Yeah.
DLC all day. There are plenty of
Oh
predictions
yeah.
for that. But to wrap
Absolutely.
things up, I think
Hmm.
Nintendo's third party support was really good this year, and if it weren't
Hmm.
for the third parties, I think my Switch would be collecting dust.
Yeah.
And some of the third party games I'm going to note out again. Crash Insane Trilogy was a blast to play. I recently got Katamari Damacy Reroll.
Hmm.
Really fun game. I love how bizarre it is. I love the gameplay of it. I just wish that it wasn't a GameStop exclusive and physical copies were a little bit easier to find.
Yeah.
And Mega Man 11 is also a really good one. And there's other eShop games like Pac-Man Championship Edition too. I had a lot of
Oh
fun
yeah.
with that. But
Hmm.
at the same time, the reason why a lot of people buy Nintendo consoles is to play the Nintendo games, Mario, Pokemon, Donkey Kong, Zelda, stuff
And
like that.
yeah.
And to consider
And
that most of them, except for Super Smash Bros., were underwhelming this year, it was a
mhm.
little bit of a disappointment. You know, now that 2018 is almost over, I can kind of look back on it and enjoy Super Smash Bros. Maybe it was worth it, maybe it was not, but it doesn't change the fact that 2018 wasn't one of Nintendo's better years. And they did try some new
Yeah.
things like Labo and stuff like that, but it didn't really go anywhere.
Eh, Lavo, I think Lavo flopped, to be honest with you. I don't think that sold that well. I like the idea behind it, but I will say 2019 is looking like a great year. Luigi's Mansion 3, Animal Crossing, Metroid Prime 4,
Next gen
um,
Pokemon.
next gen Pokemon, and we're really hoping to see what Retro's working on, and we're hoping that it's a 3D Donkey Kong game, but we will see. It's exciting to be a Nintendo fan next year. Besides,
Super Mario Brothers Euro Deluxe, but we could skip that. It's January. It's fine.
But
anyways,
let's
yeah.
hope that Nintendo doesn't continue the DLC padding that they have with other games. And I just hope that's a symptom of them trying to get stuff out in 2018 because let's be real,
I'm sure.
the really good stuff they released this year were ports of Wii U games, which I did have fun with,
yeah.
but the reason I didn't really talk about them in the video is they're just Wii U ports, games you already played if you're a Nintendo fan, but still fun on the
Right.
Switch, even better actually.
Just make sure to look out for the 3D report coming next year.
But anyways, I'm Demeech,
And I'm Ty the Guy 2800.
and see you all in 2019.
Peace out.